This is McCook's Mr. Bill, and we're going to talk about firearm safety. Firearm safety should start with a BB gun. When you give a BB gun to a little kid, you shouldn't just hand it to him and say, there you go. My father, a great man who adopted me, had kind of a blind spot there, because when he handed me a BB gun when I was a kid, and the only hunter safety or hunter firearm safety information he gave me was, don't shoot the windows. That was it. So when I was out shooting and I'd shoot a hard metal object or a steel post, a BB would come right back at me. I had to learn on my own what was dangerous and what wasn't. And I hope you do better and don't be blind to that concept, or you may be blind in an eye. I would also say that I've seen through my life a number of people use shotguns, and some of them got killed with shotguns. They crossed the fence with it loaded, and they'd keep the action closed, and they'd think the safety was on, the gun would fall over and kill them. Unless you're in combat, I always say that leave the action open. It can't kill you if the action's open. If it falls, whatever happens, that gun cannot fire as long as this action's open. It's just how it should be, and it makes it a lot safer. Use common sense. And of course, even with short guns, one of the closest times I got killed was with a handgun. A friend of mine had just bought a .38 special handgun, black market, and his parents didn't know about it. And he was downstairs with me. And I looked at the gun, and I unloaded the gun, and I played with it then, and then I loaded it back up, because he had it loaded, revolver, 6-shot, and he was off doing something else. When he came over, he thought that it was still unloaded, so he picked the gun up, aimed it right at my head as I was laying on the bed, and he was at the foot of the bed, and he just aimed it right at my head, cocked the gun back, and aimed it at my head. And for whatever reason, he didn't pull the trigger. He aimed it over at the stereo about a foot away from me and fired it. I had pieces of record all over me, and the noise was deafening. And that's how close I came to being shot between the eyes with a .38 special when I was 17 years old. A gun is always loaded, and young people and firearms don't mix without adult supervision. I push that very strongly. But there's all sorts of other reasons to have safety. Now again, we talked about the open chamber, the gun. This is a little .22 rifle my wife owns. It's killed a lot of rattlesnakes and prairie dogs. And the action's always open unless we're ready to shoot it. And it's a single shot. It's probably, I think she paid all a $20 bill for it back in the day. But it is an excellent little gun. But again, no matter what you're shooting, be it a .22 or a .30-06, safety is everything. And I would then tell you the last hunter's safety thing that I went through. My wife was a big deer hunter, and the whole family got into it, and they would haze the deer down to the shooters. And I didn't like it because I thought it was dangerous. In fact, I had a branch from a tree blown off right beside me from a rifle shot from way down there and hit that branch right next to me. I didn't want to do it anymore, but they talked me into it one more time. And so as I was hazing the deer with the other shooters, and there were 2 shooters over here, and a deer jumped out, and they stepped up and were shooting. Well, I stepped up to keep even with that line, but the third shooter here in the middle, he had never went hunting before. And he was brand new to it, and he didn't know all of the intricacies that we did. And because of that, he stayed where he was. The next mistake he did was he closed this eye, which that meant I'm blind to him. He couldn't see me no matter what I had done. And he couldn't see that I had stepped up to be even with the other 2 shooters. And he put his .30-06 up with a scope on it, and as he's following the deer to shoot it, he said just as he pulled the trigger, his scope turned red. Well, that red was my hat. I had a red hat. And the bullet grazed my head and knocked me down onto all 4s. And he drops his rifle, and he's crying, and he's saying, I didn't mean to, please, I didn't mean to. And of course I rolled over on my back then, looked at him, and he's bawling by then. And I said, what you crying for? You missed. And he never hunted again. It destroyed his will and wanting to hunt. It also made sure I didn't go out hazing anymore. That, I said, 2 times is enough to risk my life. and so I never went that route anymore. Wife and the rest of them nowadays hunt in tree stands, so much safer, no question. But hunter safety is important, but firearm safety is even more important, and even any kind of weapons safety, including knives. Because unlike homes, very few homes have a lot of guns. 40% I think they say have firearms, but every home in America has knives, so children need to be trained how to leave knives alone or to handle them properly. So this is McCook's Mr. Bill, and this is some information, and I hope you get some good out of it. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to a few of my films if you get a chance, and look at some of my past ones.